In the 3 years that we've raced in the Netherlands, only Max Verstappen has won here, but Lando Norris beats the Dutchman to bring home the trophy and get us back on track for the Formula One season. It is lights out, and away we go for episode 154 of the Eaton Asphalt Podcast. Okay. Was this a boring race for you?
Yes, for me. I can understand why it wouldn't be for you,
Yeah.
but if I don't have a dog in the fight like I didn't, yeah, yeah.
It like the whole the leader of the race being 20 seconds ahead gives me PTSD from Verstappen and Hamilton.
Hmm.
And I feel like when I see that I'm like, meh, don't need to watch this. Like wake me up when
Yeah,
something awesome happens.
it was just like it was different in the fact that it wasn't those two teams,
Yep.
but had so much resemblance of that feeling that I couldn't like separate being like, oh, it's a different car, it's a different team. It's like this dominant, like just in a race by race domination like this just doesn't feel fun.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like, if any other team has a 20-second lead at the end of the next race, you'll have no complaints from me. Because it's not so much the distance as it is like the kind of like constant uh
Yeah, right. It's like another team on top. That's cool. Got it. Nice.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And ideally it could be Kick Sauber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really exciting.
Yeah. And I cannot agree more. I think people are starting to whisper.
A lot of people I've heard that people are saying that people are starting to whisper from you
Yeah.
just
This one guy.
yeah. On today's episode of the podcast, we have a 2-for-1 since we have Imola coming up. We're recording on a Sunday, no big deal. Really dedicated guys over here bringing the people the podcast. We have our hot lap recap, our winners and losers, our race and gambling predictions recap, and then looking forward to Imola, country fun facts, Monza Grand Preview, and predictions and gambling for Monza. I keep saying Imola, but we're going to Monza. So
Hmm.
just maybe our intern, if you can just control find and replace all my words.
Mm.
AI probably does that. Just kidding. All right, let's go into our hot lap recap. All right, hot lap recap in Zandvoort. So Logan Sargent kind of kicked off this weekend for me today, or sorry, on Saturday because of his FP3 crash. His car was completely destroyed. It was on fire. He couldn't do any qualifying, but everybody else that was there for qualifying, I thought it was relatively exciting. The track evolution led to some nail-biting finishes and ended with Lando on the pole with an almost 4/10 of a second gap to Verstappen behind him, and the other McLaren following up to cap out the top three. Lando on the pole means, just for everybody who might be new to the sport, there's going to be a lot of losers and haters around the world and on the internet that are going to draw a lot of attention to how Lando has never led a first lap when starting on pole. Unfortunately, this time the haters and losers were right because Max Verstappen looked to very easily pass Lando into the first corner. Lewis Hamilton was also making some noise early on. He started on softs and everybody else was on mediums. He finished P8 after starting P15 after getting a grid penalty himself. Saw some lovely bank corners on this track. It's what it's known for. We have the Tarzan corner, turn 4. There's a lot of fun, places where if you started to, roll a ball down or something, it would keep rolling. And like on those turns, we saw some really good battles. There was Sainz Alonso, there was Gasly Hamilton. We saw Sainz Gasly. Max up until P7 or until lap 17 looked like he was doing pretty well. And then Lando was just clearly on lap 17. He had a faster car. DRS made it look super easy. And after lap, the laps went on and on. The Lando was in clean air, got like about at least a tenth and some change on every lap, and Verstappen behind him. Finished 22.8 seconds ahead of P2, which is the biggest gap between P1 and P2 that we've seen this far this season. McLaren are confirmed quick. Lando's confirmed quick. He stole the fastest lap point, even further to cut or to further cut that lead that Red Bull has in the constructors. And now, after a 12-point chip that they took out of the Red Bull lead today, they are a mere 30 points behind the P1 in the constructors. All right, hot lap recap behind us. Let's get into some winners and losers. Marco, I want to talk about my winners and losers first. I do want to, I want to lead this off with calling out somebody for being a winner who is only a winner because he's not on my loser list this week for the first time, and that's Sergio Perez.
All right.
P6 finish.
Yeah.
Nothing like, hey, good job too much, other than good job not having a horrible race, I think.
Yeah. I mean, could have been better, could have been worse. And the fact that it could have been worse. Yeah, I get it. Good for him. You got to start making improvements somewhere. You can't just expect to be absolutely dog shit for a majority of the first half of the year and then been like, oh, dude, those were all messes up. He's back in like P2 to P3. Yeah, just baby steps there.
Yeah. McLaren, I already mentioned it, 30 points behind Red Bull. Big winner coming out of the weekend. Pierre Gasly, not somebody who I expected to be on this list for me. He's got a new boss. He's got a new teammate in Jack Doan, and he got 2 points this weekend, which this is just a reminder, this is the same car that in Bahrain looked absolutely dreadful and horrible. And now they're coming around fighting not just for points, but multiple points in a single race. He hated his teammate. Word was that he hated his boss. He hates the car, but all that seems to be like changing. And he was on the post race show getting interviewed. Seemed like he was pretty happy, which is a good thing to see out of that guy.
Yeah, I also had something similar. I had Oliver Oakes, first week as team boss, getting 2 points for an Alpine team. Yeah, probably couldn't ask for anything better than that. So, yeah, congrats to them. That was great.
At this point, I feel like he can be like, "Well, boys, let's wrap it up. Like, we did."
Where's my long-term contract? Because you don't see anyone else doing these kind of things their first week.
And then my bonus winner is going to be the gyro cam that was going around social media. That is a great view. I don't understand how they make it so clear, like smooth, and then just while the car's rotating, it looks like a video game.
Yeah, I have to continue to get used to it. Yeah, I know even the announcers were like, "Yeah, I'm getting seasick watching this right now." I was like, I kind of feel that as well. If I was deathly hungover, I think that would be something I probably couldn't do for a long time.
100% speaking.
If they just have like a F1 like side cam and it's just that version the entire race, that'd be brutal.
That's all the winners I got. Any additions?
I also had Bottas, so he finally became the second car to finish behind the winner this year. That was awesome. So that was cool. Like I saw the fireworks go crazy, and then I saw him right behind there. I was like, I bet that it's gotta feel like you're lying to yourself, being like, I'm there, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm the second person to finish this race.
He was like 2 laps behind him.
Yeah.
But you think he like waved to everybody? Like,
Yeah, I would think he's like, my race is over. I want to thank the fans. He's like, this is what it felt like 3 years ago. It felt kind of cool. Always coming in P2. I also had Charles Leclerc holding off a car that's substantially quicker for like basically a quarter of the race. So I was looking at this weekend, and just McLaren as in general gave off major Red Bull vibes that we've seen mainly last year, the last 2 years, of one car absolutely dominating the rest of the field, where it's very sad to see, at the top, and then a second driver who's also in by far the quickest car not being able to pass cars that are way slower than him. So this was like a Red Bull weekend. This was a Red Bull car that was dressed up in a McLaren suit.
It's like we're the orange Red Bull now. Just whatever color your team is, if you have a good weekend, then you're that color Red Bull.
Zach Brown sexual assault case coming up soon, huh?
I don't know anything.
Yeah, well, just like Red Bull, we don't talk about this anymore. Sweep that under the rug, huh?
Dude, Zach Brown is a dork. There were so many times this weekend where he came on and he was just like, he's like a big, chubby, fat 9-year-old kid. when I see him like get excited in his chair, he'll like jump up, everything kind of like jiggles down. I'm like, man, I want a Toto Wolf.
Yeah.
I don't need Toto Wolf, but I need a kind of Toto Wolf to be like foreign, serious, tall. Toto's jacked, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of the Mercedes shirt, that dude's jacked. Zach Brown is a little tougher compared to him.
Yeah. Get him on some Ozempic, like come in next year looking like a little buff. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Chiseled jawline.
Yeah, a buff Brown.
All right, let's move from our winners on to our losers. My loser, first off, Burnt Mayland. Safety car hasn't come out for the third race in a row. I was thinking about this. Do you think that they get paid, like the safety car driver, do you think he gets paid a bonus for every time he has to drive the car, or do you think it's just a flat salary?
I'm gonna have to go with the flat. I would love the fact if it were actually something because this guy is just praying for like his kids and his family needing safety cars to get through school. And he's like, oh, I need a big wreck. I need another one. I need another one. And this one's, yeah. But that would be, I would say, probably someone raises some flags if that were like the financial scheme of the safety car.
I think you're right. I think it should change to you get a bonus every time,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets to sneak around poking holes in tires,
Yeah, yeah, he's messing people's shit up.
putting oil on tires. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of like messing in the engine. Maybe he
yeah,
goes in as like a disguised Red Bull like pit crew member with like a helmet on, and they're like,
yeah,
who's this guy? He's like kind of kind of smashing like the chassis and stuff like
yeah.
that.
When he comes out in the safety car, he's like rolling the window down. He's like hyping the fans up, throwing his hands in the air, like, let's hear it, race fans, come on.
Uh, my other loser outside of the safety car is going to be Kick Sauber. We knew that they're bad, kind of coming into the season, like coming in the second half of the season. Knew that they were going to be bad, but they were like a full lap behind the race. A lap, they were a lap behind P18, like not that deep into the race. Just the two of them. So yeah, just yeah, you hate to see it. I think I don't know if Valtteri probably does see this as more of a job than he ever has, where he's just like going in, doing his 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
working
Clock
for
in,
the
clock out. Yep.
yeah. He's working like we work for the weekend, he works for the weekdays where he doesn't have to be like there and
Yeah.
he can just like kind of count down the days to his retirement.
Yeah. His time at Mercedes was as white collar of a job as possible. The second he went over here, blue collar, just
Yeah.
working in the field, just getting beat down every single day.
He's got his lunch box that he's bringing
Yeah.
to the garage.
He's
Yeah.
coming over bruised back home, just crying a little bit. They're like, "Oh, let's play some fun games. Let's ride the bike." He's like, "Not today.
Not today. Yeah.
I'm beaten.
You always ride your bike. Not today.
Not today. I don't want to do the bike anymore."
Um, I'll get this one out of the way. I have a loser, and it's Lando Norris. Here's the thing about Lando in first laps. Okay. He won the race, so he
Mhm.
doesn't need it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't want to be like it's the tall poppy, you get cut down. Like he wants
Mm,
to like stay behind, let other people take the race.
mm,
It's kind of like biking where you don't want to be the guy in front, right? Because you
mm-hmm.
draft
Yep.
off
Yep.
people behind
Draft. Yep.
you. So that is all that we have to talk about when it comes to Lando and first laps. And that's it.
You think that this streak has got to end at some point especially with everything that's going on around him and the position he is in and the car he's in right now, that this can't keep going on.
He's got to lean into it. Like he's got to start.
You think he's like he purposely is like, I don't want to be leading after the first turn.
Or any pole position he gets from now on, just like in the pre-race interviews, be like, I'm gonna try to not lead at
Yeah.
the end of this. So
Yeah.
it's win for me if I let somebody pass me.
You just see him. He's like just tailing off well before the turn. It's got you on the wrong way.
And then my last loser is Alex Albon. He got
Yeah.
disqualified from qualifications because his car was barely out of regulation standards. He qualified 8th and then started 20th, all because his floor was 3 millimeters too big. I don't know if it was wide or long or what,
Yeah.
but 3 mil, like there should be a gentleman's agreement with some of this stuff where the council of
Mm-hmm.
principals meets and is just like, let's not, you know,
Yeah,
let's not.
slap on the wrist on this
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Like, guys, it's Williams. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
yeah. I wonder. I'm curious to know how many like length, weight rules that the cars needs to pass every single race. But the fact that we ran into that, we ran into the Mercedes, George Russell not winning the race because his car was too heavy. You think that every team has one person that comes in and checks the box before every weekend to make sure that these things are in compliance. It just seems like 2 instances within the last 4 weeks seems a little too high.
So I have a tinfoil hat theory.
Okay.
Toto Wolff had James Vowles on his team.
Mm-hmm.
James Vowles moved on to Williams.
Yep.
James Vowles is like not doing that bad with Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Got Alex Albon, who Toto could never have, right? Like on Mercedes because he didn't have the seat for him. All of a sudden he's doing well, kind of getting some attention. Albon's kind of balling out for the equipment that they have in their car. They seem to be on an upward trajectory. I think every now and then maybe Toto's just saying like, look, we gotta beat this guy down a little bit more. Like he is pretty financially involved in Formula One. Like he's not just the Mercedes
Mm-hmm.
principal. I think he's pretty deeply seated and ingrained with like the leadership of Formula One. I think he could be there. It just doesn't smell right to me. You know what I mean?
I don't. I don't. But you know what? I like a good tinfoil hat, so I'm gonna ride with it in spirit.
Yeah. So I mean, so am I. It's fun to say.
It is fun to say. I like fun conspiracy theories, even though I don't understand some of them. All right. Well, my losers, you got all of them except I just had Hamilton and Pete Perez. Wasn't I don't think an atrocious move that he had, but losing three place grid penalty for that is unfortunate. But it does give Ian a winner in gambling due to this. So honestly, Ian winner, loser Lewis for that impeding move.
That he did finish P8. So I would have gotten it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
Like he would have been P5 and then Perez would have been P7 and you would have lost your Perez top six.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I thought you meant with Fernando. Yeah. All good. I'm stupid. All right, good stuff. I think that is it for our winners and losers. Let's move on to our race and gambling predictions recap. Should be a quick one.
All right, that does it for the winners and losers of the Netherlands Grand Prix. Let's move on to our race and gambling predictions recap. But before we get to that, this ad is brought to you by the Committee to Regulate Formula One. This committee is out here to fight for the small teams, fight for the little guys, the ones that really need a bigger voice. We are tired of seeing teams spend more money than a country's GDP while other teams are fighting to make ends meet. We should not have a sport where the second fastest driver is 23 seconds behind the pole sitter. It's truly a travesty and should not be allowed. And it's up to the FIA, the F1, and Liberty Media to do something about it and make this a fair sport again. This advertisement was purchased by Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, and Red Bull Racing. All right, race predictions. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Big old goose egg
7-10.
for the boys. What's
No
up?
change. Don't change
No.
anything. 7.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
7-10. Fun stuff. Let's move on to gambling recap. I will go first. I got one with a net. So race winner, Max versus any other driver. Any other driver nailed it. Put 2 units on that. So I came out with a total of 0.3 units on the weekend, giving myself up to 0.54 units on the year. It's about $11, folks. What's up?
They call you Mr. Positive.
Look at that.
I missed my max to win, which was my longest odds at 1 unit. I got my Perez to finish top 6th. He finished 6th. And Fernando Alonso top 10 finish. He finished 10th. So I eked out my first positive race prediction or race gambling prediction that I got. And I want to say since April or
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, it's been a minute.
taking me from negative 10.4 units to 10.05 units. So we're got some work to do.
Upward trajectory, though. We're in the black. Week 1 of the second half of the season.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's look forward to the Grand Prix ahead. Marco, why don't you get us started with our Monza Grand Prix view?
Absolutely. All right. The Formula One Pirelli Gran Turismo d'Italia at the Autodromo Nacional Monza. I really wish one. I don't know if this had changed. This name has been changing quite some time. I don't like that Monza is not in the name. I don't know if this was like a recent, how long ago it was, but this always confuses me until I look at what the actual track is itself. So just throwing that in there for the Formula One group to do something about that.
Do it.
Anyways, this track looks like an upside down gun. I think I've used that 2 to 3 times on some of these tracks. That's all I got on this one. Upside down gun. It's pretty spot on, though. This is Formula One's Temple of Speed, or as the locals call it, La Pista Magica, or the Magic Track. So clearly by the name, this track is extremely fast, recording the fastest lap ever by Juan Pablo Montoya. Drivers will be hitting full throttle for a majority of the race. It's roughly 80% of the race, they will be full throttle. There's about 3 chicanes that the drivers do need to use some like skillful driving to maneuver, which will make this, a little bit of entertainment in that fact. This is going to be like most teams' lowest downforce setup of the year. Like actually, most teams do have a Monza specific package that has a skinnier rear wing to increase top speeds to the very max. So on the other side of things, if you do root for a top team, this is the place to take an engine penalty. Obviously, like with that speed, you are able to catch up. This is where we've seen, I think, Lewis Hamilton start P20. I think he won the race here too. So, if you need a new power unit, take it now. You are going to catch up to the rest of the field on a track like this. The track itself, 2 DRS zones with a little bit of speed trap going into turn 1. That is one of the chicanes I was referencing earlier. This is also right where Max tried to murder Lewis Hamilton 2 years ago.
Sure.
Yep, 2 years ago. It's a fact. There's only 11 turns and only 53 laps. So that is 19 less laps than the Netherlands from last week. This does have a ton of history here. This track has been here since 1950. So similar to the Netherlands, just been here for almost all of Formula One. This is the world's 3rd purpose-built track after Brooklands in the UK and in the Indianapolis Speedway. Similar to Netherlands, though, the original track has these very, very famous steep banks, super, super heavy angles. They do not use most of those very steep curves and steep banks in the new track. This is set in Monza's Royal Park at the foot of the Alps. Just very spectacular views everywhere. Just a gorgeous part in Italy to attend if you want to. We're going to do that next year. Anyways, Charles, a little fun stat that you guys might like. I liked it. Charles won in 2019. He had a DNF in 2020. Pierre won in 2020, had a DNF in 2021. Danny won in 2021, had a DNF in 2022. Max won in 2022, and like everything else, he ruined the fun streak by winning last year. That would have been awesome to keep that thing going. So we'll see if, maybe he was just, if he doesn't DNF this year, if he does DNF this year, that just means it was the last time he's going to win, something like that. I'll figure out how the streak works if he does not DNF this. If he does DNF this year, it's going to happen, folks. The weather, Friday and Saturday, high of 90. It's going to be toasty. And then Sunday, partially cloudy, high of 84. Still pretty toasty. No rain.
No rain. Thank goodness.
For now. There's still like a whole week.
We are recording 7 days ahead of time.
So if anything does change, gambling, weather, predictions, fun facts, it's because this was a week before the actual race.
Especially if the fun facts change.
Yeah, that's the biggest probably question mark. I think most of my things. So
Speaking of which, let's get into fun facts. Let's move on to our final sector before our predictions and gambling. Country fun facts, two truths and a lie. Let's do it. We're gonna go ABC. A. In Abruzzo, there is a free public wine fountain that dispenses red wine 24/7 and is intended as a gift for passersby. Number two, Egyptians weren't the only mummifiers in history. Underneath the Roman ruins, there are several mummified dogs assumed to have been the assurance of protection for royal owners when passing on to the next life. And C, in Capri, it is illegal to wear wooden sandals due to the cobblestone emitting a loud noise when the wood hits it.
I'm gonna go with B as the lie.
Nice, dude.
Nice. I didn't
Nice.
know one was true because I used that last year, and I thought I kind of remember hearing or seeing something about those the wood shoes.
Yeah. Right on. Oh, dude, back to back.
Back to back. Some people are calling it a streak, a dynasty. Some say.
Dynasty. Right
All
on.
right, all right. My turn. Let's see if I can trick you again here. Okay, ABC, like Ian said, taking place in northern Italian town of Vera on the Sunday before the beginning of the Catholic Lent season. The Battaglia delle Arce, the Battle of the Monkeys, is a reenactment of the 12th century fight between Bavarian people and the tyrannical government that they were under at the time, commemorated by, you guessed it, using groups of monkeys to attack the government. Next one.
Wait.
Italy is one of
Oh, whoa. The first one is monkeys are attacking the government. That's the
they reenact
okay,
the
good.
the Iranian people used monkeys to attack the tyrannical government, and then they reenact that fight
Okay, got
the
it.
day before Lent.
Okay, of course.
Next one. Italy is one of Europe's youngest countries at under 200 years old. And the last one, weathermen in Italy belong to the army, or more specifically, the Air Force. You must be enlisted in the army to be a weatherman. So you will see all weathermen and women in Air Force uniform while on the news.
I'm gonna go with B is the lie.
That's true.
Then C is the lie.
That's also true.
Okay. That was too. I mean, I'll be honest. I lost. You completely lost. I lost focus with the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Monkeys.
that was probably, you say a paragraph, we're gonna lose some people.
That's called good podcasting.
Yeah, that's how you do it, folks. I
Yeah.
bet everyone else got it. They really knew what was going on. Yeah, that one is I think I'm glad you don't know Italian because the Battaglia delle Arance is the Battle of the Oranges. And then they throw oranges at each other every year.
Oh, so
Mm-hmm.
instead of monkeys fighting
Monkeys
oranges,
replace that. Yeah.
so
Hand in
you were
hand.
like, instead of oranges, I'll just talk about monkeys.
Yeah. I was like, this seems too easy. Is gonna read right through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, nailed it. So I'm 2 for 2 on getting you, and 2 for 2 on getting it right. So very fun. That does it for our country fun facts. Let's go on to our race predictions and gambling for Monza. This week, like we said, gambling is going to be a little tough doing it a week in advance. Very little odds and available gambling picks to be made. I'm going to go with Lando to win, plus half a unit, plus 145. And knowing how fast he was last week, this is kind of how I'm thinking about this, plus 23 seconds. Monza super quick. I'm going to go with over 12 seconds race winner, zero point 0.5 units, plus 210. Those are my gambling picks.
I like it. I'm just gonna go all in on a 2 unit special for there being a safety car at Monza. That's minus 120, 2 units.
I like it. Okay. That's good. I think both are going to happen.
Let's wrap up with our race predictions and send the people on their way. I'll go Max Verstappen not to finish because, as Marco said, after you win the race, you don't finish. Douche of the day or driver of the day, George Russell. Douche of the day, Max Verstappen. Wild card prediction: Sergio top two. I'm going back to the well. It was at plus 2,000 last go around. Fastest lap, Oscar Piastri, and then 2 cars not to finish this race.
All right, that looks awesome. I am definitely not filling this in as fast as I can. I'm going to go with who do you think is strategy enough? George Russell, driver of the day, Lando Norris. This guy loves getting driver of the day. Douche of the day, Oscar Piastri. Wild card prediction: no McLaren on the podium. Fastest lap, Lando Norris. Not on the podium though.
Not on the podium. Fastest lap. How many cars don't finish?
One. Yep, it won.
All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Long one, but you got a lot of time since we got Italy coming up here. So appreciate everybody for listening, and we'll see you after the Italian Grand Prix. See you, assholes.
See ya.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.